What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamisha, your occupational therapy coach. So in this video, we are going to the season of Christmas, right? And I want to share with you guys some books that I have written and also provide you guys with information where you could get your hands on the books. So if you don't already know, I have written 5 books now. I started in 2019 up until now. So I have written 5 different kinds of books and I want to share it with you. Now, if you are a clinician and you're like, I really have a desire to write books, then definitely go down into the description. You're going to see a link there to a Facebook group. I want you to go ahead and join that Facebook group. Okay. That Facebook group is meant for rehab professionals. You can be a CODA. You can be an OTR, you can be a PT, a PTA, a speech therapist, whatever. If you're a rehab professional in that Facebook group, I share information on how you can generate passive income online by monetizing your therapeutic knowledge, just like I did. So what I do want to share with you guys, I want to share with you guys a couple of books that I have self-published, wrote everything on my own for the most part, okay? And I want to share with you a couple information on what you can do if this is a desire for you as well. So I think I'm going to start with the not traditional OT kind of books, because I did write some books that is really not meant for the profession. And I just did it just because I really wanted to, you know, challenge myself and see how good I could write. So the first book, since we are moving into the Christmas season, the first book I wrote right here, okay, I wrote this book for my son. This book is called All I Want for Christmas Is My 2 Front Teeth, okay? I wrote this book for my son. If you decide to buy this book, literally on the first, let me go ahead and open it. As you can see here, right on the first page, it tells you this book is dedicated to Malachi. That's my son's name. You guys have probably seen my son in a couple of videos I've done. That's my little boo. I love him. So pretty much the book is kind of like a sing-along in a way. It goes, all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth, my 2 front teeth, my 2 front teeth. All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. When and how long? Like, that's how I read it to him. Like, but it is a story, obviously. But when we get to that part of the book, I like sing it to him, and he loves that. He's not as young anymore. He still loves this book. He's 6, gonna be 7 next year. But yeah, you know, we enjoyed, you know, this book so much. So this book right now, I have it on sale. It's in my Amazon store. I think the easiest way to find all my books is if you go into Amazon and you type in my name, Tamisha Tross. Everything I've written will come up. But this is my baby, y'all. This is my baby. So this is my Christmas book. So if you have a toddler, definitely go ahead, support Black authors right here and get this book. Okay, so that's book number 1. Book number 2. Okay, again, not your traditional like occupational therapy book. But this is one of the books that I wrote. Again, this is a book I decided to write because my son was going through learning how to write and formulate his numbers, and I really wanted to have a book where he can have like continuation, like, because some of the books that we bought, you know, it would have like maybe 5 lines and then that was it for number 1, and then it would go to number 2, and I'm like, no, I want you to get more practice. So what I decided to do, so for example, how about we go to number 2? That was number 1. So for example, right, so it says number 2, and then, you know, it shows him how to formulate his 2, and then it continues, and there's like multiple pages, like multiple pages. I think I have like 5 pages where he's just constantly practicing before it goes into like the next number, and then you can see this is number 6, and by the end of it, and I think this was one of the parts he loved. At the end of the book, right, when you get to the end, it allows your child to put their name, and it just tells them how awesome they are, and it's like a little certificate. right? And you can cut it out and they can hang it on their wall. So I thought this was a nice little touch because my son, when he got through all numbers 1 through 10, he loved that. And we cut it out and we like, you know, good job, blah, blah, blah. And he loved it. And in the beginning of the book, if you can see right here, I created that, like little indicators and stuff like that. So this is for all ages, definitely 3 years and up, I think will be most appropriate. I think he was about 4, I think, when we started using it, but I did write it for starting out 3+ years and up. All right, so definitely get your hands on this. This is Trace Numbers Handwriting Practice Workbook for Kids, number 1 to 10. All right, so this is my second book I wrote. All right. The third book, which is a really good book. So I make videos where I talk about testing anxiety. All right. I do have students in my Study with the Coder course. If you want to learn more about that, it's in the description below. But I talk to people that really struggle with anxiety. And it gave me the idea to do a journal for these people that's struggling with anxiety and to figure out a way that could help them alleviate the stress daily, right? So I came out with this book here, and it's my No Worries, right? 120-day anxiety check-in journal. So it's a journal where you can check in with yourself, right? So every single page is the same. So if I was to bring it a little closer for you to see, every single page starts the same. So if I was to turn the next page, okay, and I did it this way so you can really keep track and have the same kind of sequence. So every day you have, like, you put the date at the top and then your energy level. So when you wake up, what's your energy level? Is it low? Is it medium? Is it high? Your sleep quality, your activity level. Then you have a word of the day, right? So what is your word of the day? What is your positive affirmation word of the day? You're going to write that in there. And then the symptoms throughout the day. What are you feeling? Are you feeling irritable, angry, insomnia, restless? And if it's not here, then you have space to write down how you're feeling. And then you have, you know, habit tracker. You have triggers, goals. You have 3 goals for today that you set for yourself that you can monitor. You have your morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and bedtime. It's a daily graph to see how you're doing with your mood. Okay, so I really like this, and this book right here did not take me long to make. It did not take me long to make. So again, if you are a clinician, you want to know how the heck did Tamisha do all these books? There's no way. There is a way. Okay. But if you want to know, definitely join my Facebook group where I start talking about these things. The good thing about the Facebook group is that you can ask questions, right? And every Monday I go live in that group. And all I'm talking about is how to make passive income. There's no like OT content. It's really just focused on how to monetize our therapeutic knowledge. Okay. So it's really meant for a clinician that at least has 1 year under your belt, because that first year when you start working, that's really your learning phase, right? So I really try to work with people that at least have 1 year under their belt. All right. So this is that. Definitely get your hand on this, even if you are not someone that's suffering anxiety, but you know someone that's suffering with an anxiety, definitely go ahead and get this book for them. Okay? All right, so now let's go into the occupational therapy books. So you guys are probably already familiar with that, but let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first book, which is like my bestseller on Amazon, 12 case studies. This was my very, very first book that I wrote in 2019. Okay. And I love this book because this book has just been like the meat of support for students. And there's 12 different cases that I break down. So you have stroke, you have dementia, you have congestive heart failure. Sorry about that. You have COPD, there is lymphedema, bilateral knee amputation, hip replacement, lung cancer. I dive into UTIs, E. coli, and MRSA, Parkinson's disease, contractors, coronary artery bypass, what we call CABG, right? All of that is in this book, and I go through it, break down the interventions, break down a scenario on how it would look like. You also have documentation examples, as well as examples of how you would write those treatment goals. That's also in here. And I also have tips on how to deal with unmotivated patients. The list goes on. This is like a must-have book, especially if you're going into a skilled nursing facility for the first time. You want to get your hands on 12 case studies for sure. All right. Now the last book, this is my newest book, and I'm really proud of this book because this book made it into a college as a requirement for field work. This is great. So level two students, get your hands on this book right here. Okay. This is called Classroom to Clinic, Surviving and Thriving in Occupational Therapy Fieldwork Resource and Reference Guide. Don't worry about this. This is my author copy. That's why it has like the line there. Your copy would not have that line. That's just my author copy. Let's see. So this book right here, there's a couple of things that I love about this book, right? So it really breaks down the importance of making a successful transition from the classroom into a clinic setting, all the things that you should know to help you prepare, building professional skills, critical thinking. But I also don't stop there. I go into a portion where I actually give you fieldwork in-service ideas for every setting right here. Okay, see that? Right there. So whether you're going into skilled nursing facility, pediatric clinic, school setting, mental health outpatient center, home health, or hand clinic, I have it right there, as I showed you guys before. Sorry about the lighting. And then I provide you guys with real life scenarios and challenges that has happened on fieldwork that people have mentioned. So definitely check that out. There's frequently asked questions that I talk about. And then at the very last section, okay, so section 5, let me go to that. Section 5 is a really good section because in section 5, you have like your vital signs chart, you have a range of motion chart, balance scale, MMT, SOAP note overview, like how to write your SOAP note. You have the top 10 most important field work tips, and then the weekly reflection, I think, is freaking awesome. And I'm probably biased, but I don't care. So right here, if you can see that, that's the weekly reflection. Okay, and this is set up because as coders we go to 2 fieldwork sites, right? So it's set up where you have days, or I should say weeks, for each of those. So it's not just based off of like one site, it's based off of like 2, because that's the standard, right? We go to two places for a period of time. And with the reflection, I'll just read it to you guys. So what you do while you're on field, because this is like an all-in-one fieldwork book, right? You keep this with you on fieldwork. So on the top, you write week 1. So let's say it's Monday, you write Monday in the day. And then this is what you're going to reflect on throughout the week. You're going to write questions to ask your supervisor, advice from your supervisor. Advice from my supervisor. Yeah. I need to study this more. And then my thoughts for the week. That's all right here. And it really helps you remember, like, you know, if you're doing something and you're like, oh man, I got to make sure I talk to my supervisor, you write it down real quick so you don't forget. So by the end of the week, because a lot of facilities, I mean, I'm going to say they should do this. Some might not. But if you are on field work and you have a clinician, usually they'll do like a rundown for the week with you. You'll have like a sit down discussion, like let's say on Fridays, to see how the week went. And this is a good book to have in front of you to be like, oh, there's certain things I want to talk to you about. And then you pull out your Classroom to Clinic book. So I hope that this was helpful. If you guys want to get your hands on my book, go ahead in the description below. You're going to have access to my books. I'll just have it right there. And it says my books. But yeah, I hope that this was a nice video so you guys can see the potential of what you can be or do when you pass your NBCOT exams. If you are a clinician and you like to meet you, that's great. I want to be able to write books too. Go ahead and join my Facebook group and we'll talk about it there. All right, guys, until the next video, bye-bye.